Welcome to Lecture 6 of Academic English. In the previous lecture, you were introduced to writing academic paragraphs. In this lecture, you will learn the basics of writing academic essays and reports. The most important thing you need to understand before we go any further is the following. A sentence consists of few words, which are an arrangement of verbs, nouns, adjectives, proverbs, prepositions, and alike. A group of sentences will give you a paragraph. A collection of linked paragraphs results in an essay or a section of a chapter, a section of a research article, or a section of a graduation or project report. A combination of essays or sections will build up to become a chapter. Chapters will contribute towards a graduation or a project report, towards a dissertation, a thesis, or a book. You need to understand that what you learned in the previous lecture in terms of writing paragraphs still holds true when you write essays, chapters, reports, dissertations, or theses. The first 3 slides are a replica of the guidelines, tips, and hints highlighted in the previous lecture. Because of their importance, I'm reiterating through these one by one. When you start writing, you may need a title, especially when you are writing an essay or a report. Sometimes you may not need the title because either it is defined in advance or maybe you will write one paragraph that will not need a title. When you use Microsoft Word or any other word processing software, for example, Apache's OpenOffice, you have to set similar margins from opposite sides. I mean similar margins from right and left, and similar margins from top and bottom, unless otherwise requested. You are recommended to separate different paragraphs by either using a first line indent at the start of each paragraph or by leaving a blank line between the paragraphs. You shouldn't use both. You should write using the same font style, font size, and font color. The spacing between lines should either be 1.5 or double lines. This means that single line spacing is prohibited. Text should either be aligned to the left or justified. All figures and diagrams must be clear and readable and should be close to the text describing them. Captions or titles should always be underneath the figures and above the tables. When you develop figures and charts, these should have readable font size, readable font style, and also readable font color. The same remark applies to the axes and their titles, and lines and markers used in drawing the figures. Figure legends should be clear and readable and should not cover the figure. Figure titles should always be removed because figure captions are added underneath the figures. When you write paragraphs, you must ensure that these are short and should consist of short sentences. A paragraph should be composed of no more than 5 sentences, each having a length between 2 to 3 lines. Each paragraph should deliver one message or one idea. Paragraphs have to be linked logically, ensuring a smooth and consistent flow of ideas when someone reads these paragraphs one after the other. Whenever you write an essay or a report, you must use formal language. Abbreviations and acronyms should be avoided. If you have to use these, keep them to the minimum. Contractions like don't, won't, can't, and similar ones should not be used. Instead, use the full term: do not, will not, and cannot. Also, expressions like etc., etc., or and so on should be avoided. Writing in simple past tense and passive voice is preferable, as has been explained in Lecture 2. When you write, you have to write directly without wasting time and space, using at least the minimum number of words. For example, if you are requested to write a minimum of 200 words about smartphones, stick with this. Do not write 150 words and say that's it or that's enough. In fact, you should write at least 200 words, and if you go to 250 words, that would be better, provided that what you write is meaningful. Writing is not about filling space with irrelevant or repeated information. You need to modify your style of writing for who you might think will be reading your essays or reports. A good advice in this regard is to make your writing understandable by a 10-year-old child or a 65-year-old person. Before delving into the details of writing an essay, let's see what an essay is and what it should mean. The word essay derives from the Latin word exagium, which means presentation of a case. When you write an essay, you present a point of view that is valid, and you try to persuade or convince the reader of the validity of this point of view. An academic essay has three parts. A. An introduction, where you introduce your topic and provide the readers with some information about what they should expect to read in the following paragraphs. You should also inform your readers about any possible learning outcomes. Generally, the introduction may include 1 or 2 paragraphs. B. A body or middle section that provides all important details, evidences, and supporting information, whether these were quotes or statistics. The body uses whatever supporting details may exist to persuade the reader to accept the writer's point of view. It is worth mentioning that the body usually comprises 3 or 4 paragraphs. The final section in an essay is the conclusions. This summarizes the contents and findings of the essay, gives a brief flavor of the results, and clarifies why and how the essay, or we can say the results and findings, or the point of view, are or may be interesting to the reader. In this and the next 2 slides, you are shown a video that will help you understand the basic structure of an essay. I have uploaded the videos as separate files for you to download or watch. This slide helps you with the flow, organization, and arrangement of paragraphs when you write an essay. You can see that you will need to start with the introductory paragraph, which is followed by 3 supporting ideas you have to highlight. Each idea should have its own paragraph along with the details and evidences. You should finally end your essay with a concluding paragraph, as mentioned earlier, that will summarize your essay in few sentences. The concluding paragraph reminds the reader of why and how your point of view is interesting and persuading. On the next slide, you will have an example of an essay highlighting the different sections. This means the introduction, the body, and the conclusions. This slide and the next one present an example of an essay. Read through this example and identify the different sections. You can see that the first paragraph is the introduction. The body follows the introduction, where further information, for example, details, explanations, and quotes, are presented. The last paragraph is the conclusions that remind the reader of what this essay has been about, or what you think about the topic discussed in the essay. This slide presents another example of an essay. The essay, continued on the next two slides, has the same structure we described in slide number 5 and the videos in slides 6, 7, and 8 of this lecture. In this slide, I'm giving you an example about how to write a report after extracting information and data from figures and diagrams. This is the short report written using the diagram shown on slide number 15. You can see that the essays or reports presented in our examples have the minimum number of words, whether these are 150, 250, or any other number of words requested. The examples given in this lecture pave the way and prepare you to our next lecture, which will be about the detailed steps that have to be followed when you write essays and reports. As we reach a conclusion, I will be uploading few samples of essays to help you with this lecture. These will be uploaded to Moodle. Should you have any questions or queries, do send me an email so I can help you with all the necessary explanations.